This is the Blackout Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people that do amazing things. And today I am excited that I have Hasmeet from the Maritime Bhangra Group. Thank you so much for coming on the Blackout Podcast.
Thank you so much for having us, man.
So it was, I think 3 or 4 years ago, I was at an event in MSVU. I think it was for my Halifax experience with Ifeanyi, and it's called my East Coast experience now, but I was at this event. It was a nice night, and then they're like, "Oh, introducing they called you guys," and then you came on. And it was like something I'd never seen before, and that was like 3 years ago. And in that time, you've pretty much performed for everyone, including a prime minister. So, let's go. How did it start for you?
Yeah, so I'll take you back a bit. It's
Okay.
about September 2013. That's when I came to Halifax, and I always say this: there were very few people who looked like us, especially in the education world, in the universities. So we were always looking at things, how we could let people know about who we are and where we come from, and that we do exist and we have an identity, right? So that's when we started to come up with different ideas, and the first one we came up with to start with the Sikh Student Association, and that was the first Sikh Student Association in Atlantic Canada ever.
Whoa.
So that was the first initiative me and my brother Kuwar, who was a co-founder in the Maritime Bhangra Group as well, we took together, and we started to do street campaigns. We started to give out posters. And just to clarify, we were never talking about religion. We were only talking about identity and the part that we exist in this part of the world too. And these are some of the things about us. And we always considered this as a 50-50 effort, right? It's a two-way thing. We can't just land in Halifax and think of people to just do their homework and get to know about us. So we took that as our part of duty, and we started to do the part of awareness we thought we should do through the Sikh Student Association, through different campaigns. And that's when eventually we thought, oh, the dance is getting very good response. How about, and this took pretty much 3 years before we could actually get that in our minds. And after those 3 years, in I think June 2016, that's when we came up with our first video. We did our first show somewhere closer to your studio. This I think we were paid $50 for the whole show. And and then came the Peggy Score video, and then just took off. But again, the whole thing, until the first video went viral, was about letting people know that we exist, and then the whole game changed after the first video went viral.
Yeah, so let's talk about our Peggy's video one. Peggy's Cove video. What was the idea behind creating that video?
It's just another day going out, having fun, recreating something we used to do back home a lot, right? So just taking another trip. For some reason, two of the guys had the same dress and same color turban, and we went on, shot this, and we uploaded this and slept. And then here we go. After 2 hours, you have these media companies from around the world trying to get a bit of that. And, how do you feel? What do you feel? And I don't know, so much more. Yeah. It just blew out.
Yeah, no, so you guys blew up and then started performing, and it's been like, I guess, how do you decide which performances you accept and which, I don't know if you turn down any, but...
There are times in a year when you have to turn down a few people. But again, we sort of look out for a mixture of 80-20, where 80% of the performances are the ones which you are doing for the people who can't afford to pay you. You just go down and you do it for free. And you do it for the people who may not get a chance most of the times to go attend a performance. Like you would do it for a ALS patient. You would do it for a cancer survivor. Like at times doing it for individuals or places where these group of individuals are coming up together at one place. Or, doing it for an organization like either one of those charities we are raising money for, or a community organization. Doesn't matter if it is provincial or private or public. But then 20% of the performances are the ones where we are asking for a hefty amount of money and doing a 5-minute show for, let's say, $600 a minute or something, and getting that money and then taking to the charity directly.
That is, I remember actually, thank you for bringing that up. Because, like, we're talking about before I had you on, we're talking about it, and I was like, oh, man, you do all these amazing shows, you must be rolling in dollars. And you're like, no, we don't even have an account.
No.
Yeah. Yes, so say that. Like,
Yeah, there's no bank account. We are not registered. So let's just say if you invite us for a performance and you're paying us $3,000, that money directly goes to the account of the charity, and you send us a receipt and you say you paid, and that's how it is. So we don't touch money or resources in any way.
yeah, it's mind blowing that you do this, and I'm guessing, why?
I don't know. I think as humans, we all have this duty to give back to the society, and that's just our part. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, and does that come back to like something in your upbringing, or like just?
I think we all do that. I mean, different ways. You could be doing that by bringing out positive stories out of the community, and we are doing it through the dance or a bit of money. I think everyone has that in themselves, and it just comes out in different ways or forms. But yeah, I think we learned this while we were growing up, and back home, I think the community runs in a very closed manner where you have to do things for the community. I mean, it's not something you're gonna get stopped on the street and say, "Oh, you guys are doing something wonderful," like we get here. But back home, it's like, yeah, you're playing your part. That's it. And a bit of that comes from the culture we grew up in. It's like we grew up in a culture called. There's a concept in our culture called Seva, where you do things selflessly for others and don't expect anything in return, and try not to announce it to the world, which for some reason in our case has become very evident. when we do things, it does come on TV and on channels.
And then the other thing is the documentary with CBC.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Just like any other performance. So in this record of, I think, last 5 years, we have never asked for any performance or anything to anybody. So an email comes in and says, "Oh, I'm really interested in knowing, yes, you do all these things, you're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars, but why? We just want to know your story. We work with indigenous people." And I mean, for all the work we were doing, and a lot of the work doesn't come up on TV or on our channels, we try to do it quietly if we can. So our director, Nance Ackerman, she was really interested in knowing all that. So we ended up signing the film in 2016, and it got finished last year, and now it's being played in Sweden, I believe. So it's going out for international distribution.
And when you press play, it says, I mean, I'm going to butcher this because I can't really remember what it says word for word. It said you can play this, but like donations have to be given or something like that. It says right there at the beginning of the film. So when the film is played, any money the film made is donated also.
Yeah, we didn't take anything out of the film. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What?
It's just that, growing up in North America, it's like everything is like you have to think of the next, you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your car, whatever. But here is people that are doing something that everybody loves or everybody feels pulled to, and it is bringing income, but it's like, no, we don't want any of that. We are giving it back to the society.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful upbringing, actually.
Thank you.
So, and then let's go to the dances themselves. Who choreographs the dance, and how do you choose the songs you play and all that?
So I'll start with the choreography part. Initially, when we started on, it was the other co-founder I mentioned, Kuvardeep Singh. He was the one who pretty much choreographed everything initially. But then later, when everybody learned, now it's pretty much everyone in the team is giving their part in and creating the choreography. So now there is no one choreographer. We do always have we'd always have one person who leads the whole dance part. But then in terms of choreography, it's everyone who's contributing.
Oh, wow, that is cool. So, like, how does it start? Does it start with the music or does it start with the dance?
I'm going to come back to the music part. Something very interesting is now the dance form we have is very foreign to the land where we are doing it, right? So whenever we are creating a whole video, we have to think of it as what do we create that it really caters to the audience we have, right? We don't have a lot of South Asian audience. Like those who already know about this. So when we created with a sense that it's being created for the people who are from here, right, or who have spent most of their lives here. So we try to take music, either we'll indulge in some French music, Irish music, or whatever we feel is going to cater to the audience. But then we do keep a part of our own culture in it, right? Which I believe is getting highly influenced by the Western style of music, especially the hip hop. But yeah, we still try to keep a piece of that, and we put on the other pieces together from culture which is known to the people over here, and then sort of create an amalgamation of West and East.
Yeah, that sounds great. And you say you're going to come back to the music?
Yeah, in terms of the music part, Kuvar, as I said, the other guy, he's the one pretty much who mixes the whole remix for the music every year. So we create one remix which we sort of use for the performances for that year, but then we keep on creating like smaller pieces every 2 weeks for the videos we come out with. But we use the similar formula, as I said, create a mix so that we can cater to the whole population.
Oh man, that is actually brilliant. So now I'm finding out that you're opening Bhangra pretty much nationwide now. Which other places are you located?
So, I mean, the only other chapter we are trying to establish for now is Toronto. But then I think except Newfoundland and Winnipeg, we have pretty much danced around the country. And
So Newfoundland and Winnipeg should call you guys then.
sure. We have had people calling from Newfoundland, but we just couldn't make it.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay. Does each member of the group kind of have like a day job or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone does what they does, yeah.
So, and how do you make time for the rehearsals? Because, like, even though everybody brings it about dance, like when you are performing, everybody's doing the same thing, so you have to rehearse. Like, you can't look that good without
No,
rehearsals.
it's a big commitment.
Exactly.
And I really appreciate everybody in the team for them to spend, I think, 10 12 hours every week to work on their dances. But I always say this, it's much more than dancing. Like, they have to understand the vision of the whole organization. I mean, there's no way I'm saying dancing part is very light. I mean, it takes a lot of effort, and that's how the whole vision goes through. That's the platform, right? But then they get to learn so much more, and they have to put in their efforts in terms of learning what the vision is, why we are working with a certain organization. We did a tour of Feed Nova Scotia day before yesterday, and it was on CTV, where they talked about why we do what we do. And I think that part, and learning the policies, learning, like at Feed Nova Scotia, we were talking about how the food being given in the food banks is at times not appropriate for the culture somebody's coming from. Either it's international students or somebody coming from Middle East.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
something you don't think about. Actually, I didn't even think about till you just mentioned now. Because, I mean, personally, I'm Nigerian. Like, I've been in Canada for a long time. I still eat Nigerian food. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, these are the type of conversations we are trying to bring out when we go to these certain organizations. We try to play our part in letting them know this is what exists in the community. They may not have seen it, or they may not have had resources to go to those problems and solve them. So we try to become, let's just say, a small platform where we can have these different organizations collaborate with each other. So yes, the dance plays a big role, but then there's a lot of stuff happening on the back end.
Wow. And so do you get new members, or it's like, it's just the members of the group now and that's it?
No, we open up. I mean,
okay.
we open up to everybody every now and then. Just come in and put your efforts if you can dance. And I think something more important than dancing, as I said, is understanding the vision. And if you really want to do what we are trying to do here, yes, you may want to dance and have fun, but then there's going to be a lot more to it when you come in.
And so what's the process? I guess I say, like, does the person have to be Indian to
No, you
join?
could.
Okay.
You could be from.
So anyway, so me, I want to use my example. That's a reason why. So I'm like, oh, cool. I want to be a member of the Maritime Bhangra Group. What happens?
You just send us a message on social media, or just connect with one of the group members on their social media, or however you can connect with them, and then just come in for a rehearsal, and we'll try to do a few moves together, and from there we could just get to know where exactly you are on the scale.
I suck at dancing.
I second you, man. Trust me. Even for myself, like I'm not very good at it.
What? You guys? No, man. I mean, I look at that thing, I'm like, would I do that? I think it's not about really moving. It's about knowing when to do what when, right? Because, like, I might know, okay, I'll do this. But then when I'm doing this and everybody's doing that, I stand out.
It's tricky and it takes a lot of effort. Yeah, there's no doubt to that.
So, I mean, you said you just did something with Feed Nova Scotia the other day. Do you have some things planned coming up?
I think we are still gonna keep working with Feed Nova Scotia for a while, because when the COVID hit, I think back in May, when it was becoming extreme, that's when we decided we were working with blood cancer, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Association of Atlantic Canada before that. But then we decided to pause that program and start working with Feed Nova Scotia. And I still feel there's so much happening in the larger community which we don't get a chance to see when we are sitting at home. So that's why that was the whole reason why we visited them. Like they invited us, so we accepted the invitation and we shot the whole thing, and we had CTV shoot the whole tour, which I think took an hour or so. So that was the reason we went there, and we wanted to show people, yes, you may be sitting at home, you may have enough resources you need, maybe not what you used to have before, but yeah, you still have what you need just to go by. But then there are a lot of people who don't. And then for a lot of people, yes, as I said, they could get some food from food bank, but something they used to eat, they just can't get access to that in any way.
Wow.
A lot of times.
No, it's beautiful what you're doing, and especially now with everything happening in the world, COVID and all that. Like, we need more of that. And like all your videos, like no matter how sad you are, you watch it, it brings a smile to your face because you guys are so smiling, so full of joy. It translates to the people watching. So we need a lot more of that.
I think that's the magic of Bhangra itself, and then the people who are doing it. I mean, you should come for a shoot, and what you would see is, as soon as the camera turns on and they start dancing, there's a smile on their face. But when the camera turns off and it's their 16th take on the same dance, you should have a look. It's joyful with camera on, and it's painful at times when the camera is off.
Oh man. Hasmeet, so how do you, I guess, with like your day job and all the rehearsals and all the meetings you do, how do you actually balance your time personally?
I mean, at times it does become a lot. But I think when you have those good intentions and you really want to do something for the community, and like I said, we all are playing our role, and at times my role does get stretched for days and days. But yeah, I try to balance it in a way that I do cut on my personal, personal things I would like to do, but then I would just supplement it with the stuff I would have to go do with the group. But then I think when you spend so much time with the group, you do become friends with them. They become your friends and your family, because most of us just live on our own over here in Canada. So you become family with them, and then you sort of do whatever you need to do in your personal time and the group's activities just all together in one. Yeah.
Wow. So like you have this beautiful blend of you and then the group in one. Can I? Yeah.
I just want to say it's the group as one, and I'm just a part of it. It's not me and group. It's the group, and
As
I'm just a
one.
part of it.
Okay. So yeah, it's this beautiful bond that you all share.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a favor. Can I ask that, like, before you leave, you give just a tiny bit of little of a dance on the show?
Yeah, sure. We should do that.
Okay, cool.
Why not?
I'll clear this stuff and then we'll have your friends come to
Sure.
us.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for coming to
problem,
Blackout Podcast. I'm super grateful.
Thank you so much.
And again, thank you for all the beautiful things you do. It's like the world needs it now.
Thank you. Thank you, Israel.
ਬੰਦੇ ਸਾਥੋਂ ਮਾਫ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਬਹੁਤੇ ਮਿੱਠੇ ਦਿਲ ਬੀਬਾ ਸਾਫ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਬਾਪੂ ਨੇ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਬੱਲੀਏ ਪੈਸਾ ਵੇਖਣਾ ਜ਼ਮੀਰਾਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਗੰਢ ਜੀ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਪਾਲੀ ਜੱਟ ਨੇ ਕਦੇ ਮੁੱਛ ਨਾ ਕੰਮਲੀਏ ਨਿੰਦ ਜੀਓ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਪਾਲੀ ਜੱਟ ਨੇ ਕਦੇ ਮੁੱਛ ਨਾ ਕੰਮਲੀਏ ਨਿੰਦ ਜੀਓ ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਪਾਲੀ ਜੱਟ ਨੇ
ਜੱਟੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਫੈਨ ਬੇਹਿਸਾਬ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਤੱਕਣੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਆ ਖਰਾਬ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਹੋਈ ਉੱਤੋਂ ਅੱਧਿਆ ਸਿਰੇ ਤੱਕ ਡੱਕਦਾ ਹੋ ਬੋਲੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਹਿਦ ਵਰਗੀ ਮੁੱਛ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਵੈਲੀ ਜਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਬੋਲੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਹਿਦ ਵਰਗੀ ਮੁੱਛ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਵੈਲੀ ਜਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਬੋਲੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਹਿਦ ਵਰਗੀ
ਤੇਰੀਆਂ ਮੁਹੱਬਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਮਾਰ ਸੱਟਿਆ ਦੱਸ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ ਇਸ਼ਕੇ ਨੇ ਛੱਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਛੱਟਿਆ ਦੱਸ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ
ਗੱਲ ਪੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਸਵੀਟੂ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਹਿ ਗਈ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਲੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ ਗੱਲ ਪੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਸਵੀਟੂ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਹਿ ਗਈ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਲੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ ਤੇਰੀ ਬਿਊਟੀ ਦੀ ਕੀ ਸਿਫਤ ਕਰਾਂ ਦਿਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਗਿਫਟ ਕਰਾਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਲੱਕ ਤੇ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਟਿੱਕੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ ਗੱਲ ਪੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਸਵੀਟੂ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਹਿ ਗਈ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਲੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ ਗੱਲ ਪੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਸਵੀਟੂ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਹਿ ਗਈ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਲੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ
ਜਨਤਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਨੂੰ ਲਾ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਆ ਤਾਲੇ ਨੀ ਯਾਰ ਤੈਂਦੂਏ ਵਰਗੀ ਕੜਤੇ ਗੀਜ਼ਾ ਕਾਟਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੀ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੱਦਵਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਬੋਲੇ ਅੱਧੀ ਰਾਤ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਜੀ ਟੋਲੇ ਹੋ ਮਟਰ ਤੂਤ ਦੇ ਓਲੇ ਨੀ ਬੰਬੀ ਬੋਲੇ ਨੀ ਬੰਬੀ ਹਾਂ ਬੋਲੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵੇਖ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਡਰਦੀ ਜੱਟ ਦੀ ਮੁੱਛ ਡਬਲਯੂ ਵਰਗੀ ਚਾਹੇ ਗਰਮੀ ਚਾਹੇ ਸਰਦੀ ਅੜਕੇ ਠਕੇ ਚਾਵਦਾ ਸ਼ੋਲੇ ਨੀ ਬੰਬੀ ਹਾਂ ਬੋਲੇ ਬੋਲੇ ਨੀ ਬੰਬੀ ਹਾਂ ਬੋਲੇ
ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸ਼ਕੀਨਾ ਤੇਥੋਂ ਬਣਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੇ ਗੱਲ ਫਿਰਦੀਆਂ ਨੈਣ ਗੇੜੇ ਮਾਰਦੀ ਤਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਬਲਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਮੰਗ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਦੀ ਬਲਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਬਲਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਲਾਰਾ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਰਾ ਵੀ ਡੈਡ ਫਿਰ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਰਾ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਰਾ ਵੀ ਡੈਡ ਫਿਰ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਕੀ ਦੱਸ ਫਿਰੇ ਨਿੱਤ ਤੂੰ ਬਹਾਨਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦਾ ਪਲੱਸ ਫਿਰੇ ਮੰਮੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਢਿੜਕਾਂ ਸਹਾਤੀ ਤਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਬਲਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਮੰਗ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਦੀ ਬਲਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਰੰਗ 'ਚ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਮੁਟਿਆਰ ਦੀ ਬਲਾਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ
ਓ ਬਾਈ ਆਪਾਂ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਣ ਆਏ ਆ ਗਿੱਧਾ ਨਹੀਂ
This is the Blackout podcast.
Thanks for listening.